We're live. Welcome to Simon no茶の間. And I'd like to introduce my guest, who is waving in a corner over there. Hello, Ham.
Hello, everyone. It is I, the Ham.
And for all those who know her, this is you know her. Yeah. So I mean, I don't need to introduce. But for those who do not know her, this is Corvid Chaser. I forgot to put the link in the description, but in the advert there is a link to, and once this show is uploaded, there will be a link in which you can click to see her channel. And if you haven't seen her channel, you've not been on YouTube very long, because she has been on YouTube from almost the very start. I know her, and yet I don't, says Daniel from Wasabi Cars. Yes, this is Daniel. Daniel lives in Kyushu, and she may look familiar, Daniel. You know her, but you don't. But you probably know her sister, and she can explain.
We look similar in visage. Yes, my sister is Shiverz / Red Claw. So, if you do know her, then I have been in her videos when I've visited her. But before she moved to Japan, we did videos together a lot. So if you go to any of our older stuff, we always were doing videos together. So we've always been told we look like twins. We're 2 years different. She's 2 years younger than me. So, yep, that's probably maybe where you've seen my face that looks familiar to her face.
I remember.
Hi, Neil. Hello.
hello, Neil.
It's one of my really good friends, Neil.
Is that Jason in the background?
On this side, yes.
in caps. He's got his caps locked. Radri is excited.
Yes, that is Jason. Calm down. It's not real, everybody. It's okay. It's not going to come to life.
I remember the first time I came across Ham was it was either on Facebook or something like that, and Shiverz posted a video or posted a picture, and yes, Shiverz was going to England, or you were going to Japan,
yeah.
And she posted a picture, and I think I commented to Shiverz. I said, "Bloody hell, there's two of you."
That probably was your exact words, I'd imagine. In a very British manner, bloody hell, there's two of them. And I hope you had some kind of chimney sweep hat and something like at the time.
Hi, Ty. Radri's asking, what's your favorite Friday movie?
Well, I'm a huge Freddy fan, and my partner is a huge Jason fan, so he's the one to ask about any Jason movie. I love Freddy Krueger. Freddy vs. Jason, I think, is an excellent film. I think it was very well put together and very well. So whether or not anybody has opinions on Freddy vs. Jason, discuss. But I do love that film.
Freddie
Mercury's great. Yeah, let's talk about Freddie Mercury. Yeah. Freddy Krueger to yes.
Jason Statham.
Okay, let's have Freddie Mercury versus Jason Statham. Let's have that. Who would win? Fight.
The third Freddy movie is the best.
Well, we will let you discuss that with an actual Jason Noah, because I wouldn't know. I do into one. The one in New York.
I mean, to be quintessentially British, of course, the figure in the background would have to have been a model of Freddie Starr. You don't. No, there's a blank looks from how I'm showing my age there. Google anybody who doesn't know Freddie Starr. Freddie Starr ate my hamster. Classic Sun headline.
Remember, was it the Daily Star, Daily Mirror, whichever one it was, the Inquirer?
It was cutting edge stuff. Where were we? I was going to ask some questions, wasn't I?
Remember, we were talking about how people might know me from Shiverz channel. I guess
that's right, and that leads me into the first question. Hands up in the audience. Who knows what a Corvid is? I'd like to see anybody in the audience without Googling, just up at the top of your head. And wait now. because I'm about to ask Ham to explain why she is called Corvid Chaser. Or what Corvid is. And time's up. Okay, right.
No one knows.
No one
okay.
knows.
So
No
a
idea.
corvid is a scientific name for a crow. So all the like of like crows, jackdaws, ravens, magpies, jays, all of those. So I love crows. Any affinity for liking them. I used to draw them all the time. Also, I just came up with the name because I always saw them in graveyards all the time. And as you will learn, as we were talking, I am a cemetery seeker, someone who films a lot in graveyards. So they would always be present when I go there.
I don't know, Frederick. It might be interesting if you typed Corvid Chaser into the urban.
Actually, yeah, that's everybody's chance now to find out if it is on there, because I've never looked. I don't dare, to be honest.
Right, we'll get on to we'll get onto cemeteries, because that's part in the course of my questions, which I've got them on computer, but it looks more effective on paper. But I will go to this screen, which Ham has not seen, but she will realize which question I'm about to ask when I go to it. Ta-da!
Oh, look at that, just like magic.
So, who have we got here? Which ones do you recognize? Ham.
Well, in the top we have Kirby, King Kirby, as we should call him, to his proper name. We've got Steve Ditko, obviously, because his name is next to him. I'm going to say the wonderful Jim Lee, working hard at the bottom left there. Top right, I cannot tell because it's quite pixelated this end, to be honest.
I'm sorry,
I see a biblical scene, I think. It's my Wi-Fi, not your. It's me, not you. And we do have Dread in the bottom corner there. So I guess.
So I have the names written down here on a piece of paper, because I'm not a comics fan, but Ham is a comics fan. So I was
yes.
And we have Jack Kirby. That's the guy in the top left, in sort of the yellowing chap there, from the 50s, who was one of the original creators, not creators, but illustrators of Spider-Man. I'm not sure.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. And Steve Ditko was also a co-Spider-Man illustrator, classic 60s. And Jim Lee is an up-to-date chap here with Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And if you Google image Jim Lee and DC Comics, you'll see some rather impressive artwork. Now, the one that you didn't recognize, you thought was biblical. This is a 60s British comic artist called Ron Embleton. Have you ever heard of him?
Well, I remember when you were asking me about him, I had to look him up. So of him, so I guess in the terms of Britishness, I guess I should know. But unfortunately, maybe I've seen his work around, but just didn't know it was him. So
yes, I mean he produced this. This is from the series called the Trigon Empire, which was ran from about 1965 to about 1977, something like that. And I came across it when I was about 11, and would religiously sort of get loads of secondhand comics. Or somebody had a load of secondhand comics with the entire series in it, so I grabbed those.
I see.
And I was just impressed with the sort of the amount of work that went into creating the image there, because they're all sort of like watercolor based.
Yeah, I think that's the contrast, really, isn't it? That he's very technical, but in a way of proper hands-on technical, not used in any way. I don't think so. But
the only thing was the sort of I did come across him in later years as well, where he produced an erotic cartoon in Penthouse magazine.
They always seem to start out that way. You start researching and you dig a hole and you're like, should I be going this way? And then before you know it, you're hit in the face with some
with wicked evening, Drew. Yes, we're just talking about yes. comic art and Judge Dredd, as you see, those of you familiar with 2000 AD, and it's not Sylvester Stallone or the other chap who played him recently. This is the original Judge Dredd from 1977, created by an English artist called Brian Bolland.
Yes.
And I did have another chap who I had to scrap because he wasn't a comic artist, which shows my lack of knowledge. He was a writer. But, Carl Urban, that's it. That's the name of the chap that played the new Dredd, yes.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Everyone, what did everybody think? Because I don't know if it went down well, to be honest.
I was told that I mean, my friends in Florida said it was good, but I haven't yet seen it, so...
I think just comic fans are hard to please. They really are. It's like, you please some and not all, so, you know, what can you do?
So, yes, that leads me on to my next question. So when did you sort of become interested in comics?
I think teens, I believe, but the first thing that got me interested was Batman animated series. I was always interested in the animated side of it, and then I kind of went off that and researched that into different, I guess, because that had a comic, and I just like specific characters. I just fell in love with the series, and Nightwing had his own comic, and I just went down that route. And I was a very Batman born and bred kind of lover from the start. So
kind of like the American
else that came after that.
Yeah. So you weren't nipping down to the newsagents to get 2000 AD each week.
No, I was not. I love a good detective story, and because Batman's a detective, that is the reason why it really spoke to me. And I just thought, I want to know what more of this is about. So yeah.
Nothing to do with the fact that it's a guy in with muscles in tights.
Actually, no, it wasn't at all. I just love the fact he had no powers. He was more down to earth and actually had to research things. He had to use his mind, which is why I really love Nightwing as well, because he's more he doesn't have any powers. He was born out of tragedy, as most of them are. But there's that side of me that relates to it.
Never a happy time for superheroes.
Yes. They all just wake up one day and go, I gotta be a superhero. No, they don't. They always have horrendous circumstances a lot of the
time. Right. Yes, and leading on from comics. So you got interested in comics and comic art, and the artists, and that's kind of close to movies and special effects. So when did you become interested in special effects? Is that just something that also was at a similar time?
I think I was probably subconsciously interested in special effects since I was really young, because Michael Jackson's Thriller was the first thing I saw where I was like, wow, what is this? Scared me to death, but also at the same time I wanted to know about it. So I remember being scared to death of the werewolf that's in it, and just not knowing how someone transformed, and I think wanting to investigate it and know more when I got old enough, obviously. But it's always been there. Like, if there's ever a horror movie, I'd always love the monster or love the guy that was getting killed if he had a horrendous face or something, hence like in Freddy Krueger. And I guess from there onwards, I just always had a passion for it and always watched horror films.
I'm trying to imagine your school projects as coming home.
They were very happy, smiley projects with lots of smiley faces. I can tell you that. I think I went headlong into the professional wanting to do something with it for proper in the past 2 years, like learning the proper scientific way of making things, because it's very using silicon and things like that, having to balance out things, and it costs a lot of money as well. So it's not like a pastime you can do as a kid. You could start out that way, but to do it properly on some kind of level, you need a bit of money.
I mean, I was interested in special effects in the sense of science fiction and models and that kind of thing from when I was a kid, and wanted to do model making for special effects. as a teen. Once I saw Star Wars and stuff like that, back the original, sort of when I was 11, and then all the sort of things like Jerry Anderson stuff, Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, and
yes.
And then it all was taken over by CGI. So I was like,
of course, yeah. Dang it.
Which do you think is more effective in a film, CGI or actual practical effects? Which would your preference?
I think they can go hand in hand and work really well. I mean, from an actor's perspective, I think it's better for them to have a practical effect to react to. That's something that I think helps them a lot. But it's just come such a long way now that you can pair them together seamlessly. So I think it's best when you do both, to be honest, like have things physically that people can react to, but then if it's on a grand of things like Lord of the Rings comes to mind, like where the people themselves are prosthetically made, or the effects that people are touching or whatever, but then the huge scale backgrounds, that's all CGI or based on something that already exists. So it works really well together, I think.
Yeah, so they're all like in special effects, and they're all in costumes and prosthetics and fighting, and it's a trading estate somewhere in Slough.
Exactly, airport hangar somewhere, in the middle of nowhere.
So yeah, I mean, I'm jumping now. My questions jump about a bit. So let's jump, jump everybody.
Go for it.
We'll go flying. Actually, if I can go to my and click this and click that and we take off very slowly. But
wow, whoa, hang on, everybody.
Your channel is Corvid Chaser. You do occasionally do special effects, which I'll get back to.
Yes.
Occasionally, yeah. Gradually, but on the whole, you hop on a train and hop on a bus, and you go to places like this, and you hope that it's open. You go.
Yes, they let me in. Yeah.
So, I mean, if anybody goes to Ham's channel and checks it out, it's quite a lot of going around English churchyards, which is why I watch it, because it's very nostalgic for me. Not that I hang around English churchyards, just England.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is the oldest graveyard you've ever visited? That's I'm curious about, because quite a lot of the churches you visited are sort of 16th century, 17th, up to 18th, 19th.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything older than that, sort of Saxon period or something.
As you're saying, like a lot of UK graveyards are Victorian based, I would say. Some of them have probably started before then, but now they've been planted over in Victorian memento mori type things. But I would say definitely two would be in Iceland, because where Parliament was discovered, which was in the middle of this huge park called Thingvellir, which is where Game of Thrones was filmed, actually, because it's just this giant, vast wasteland of ice, volcanoes and things. But right in the middle of it, there's just a wooden hut, which was where Parliament was actually discovered, and where they put the first flag when they said this is going to be Iceland. And there's just a nice little collection of tiny graves there that are so worn away and eroded that you can barely even. But I think it was 980 or something like that when that was first put there. So I think that wins.
980 AD, sort of the founders of Iceland buried around there.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be somewhere. Yeah, they're probably completely preserved, I'd imagine, because it's so cold. You could probably just still see their bodies. Thank you, Japanese library. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Like Japan, South African in Japan. Hey. Yeah, I'm jumping around here. We'll stay with this, because I didn't find. We're going to jump to cosplay, as you do,
from graveyards. Okay. So sometimes it could cross over, I guess. Yes. But yeah.
I mean, cosplay. When did you start? Let's establish when you started cosplay. Hey, Nosh abroad. He's in San Francisco. He's so tired, but he's joined.
Hey, Nosh. Oh, bless you. Thanks for joining in.
We're just about to discover when Tom started doing cosplay.
Okay. I think, to be honest, my parents have always encouraged me. I remember going to primary school and having to do those dress-up days, and I remember them doing different things, like dressing as Cinderella, and my mum staying up all night and making costumes for me and things. But I think, again, the comics inspired that. So when you love comics so much and you go to the conventions, then you are around it and you start noticing it and you're like, wow, people do this. And before that, you kind of, it's a very insular thing for some people to love comics and be a nerd. You're kind of like, is it just me? And they're like, oh, everybody's like this is the mecca, it's the best. And everybody hangs out and you make tons of friends. And I think you just want to translate either your own character or ones that you love because you have such a passion for it, and you just go out and become who you want to be outside of yourself. Like, you can put on a mask or become something else. So I think, again, that probably was middle teens, I think, probably when I first did my...
You've continued, you stayed with, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
You're quite passionate about, and my next question, which is why I jumped here, is: have you ever stayed in costume and character all day and done daily chores whilst in cosplay?
Well, I think for a start, if you're going to wear a costume anyway, when you start, it has to begin early in the morning. A lot of my costumes I've done have had full body paint, so you have to start yourself completely before you put the costume on. So you'd either start at 8 o'clock in the morning before the actual convention starts. And by the time the convention's over, 7. So that's easily 12, 13 hours in cosplay. You don't doing everyday chores. I don't think... I've done it on Halloween, I think. I remember being like a kind of a witch that had been burned at the stake, so I had burned out eyes and a big cape on, and I remember going through the regular town because where we were heading, like, and that was obviously, but it was Halloween, so people expect it, you know. I don't think it's a. You
don't just like
yeah,
around the shops, you know, dressed up
exactly.
As the flame princess from what's it called?
Adventure Time, yeah.
Adventure Time.
Bright orange, yeah. Yeah.
I'd like some bubblegum. So, how often do you do cosplay? That's the next question. And do you always create your own costumes, or do you sometimes in Japan you can like buy them off the peg? But I mean, is that not done?
Enjoy the creative process of making one. Like, you'll see someone that you want to turn into a costume and you kind of pick it apart and go, well, I could have something I already have, I could add to it and put that on it. So to me, I've always made my own. I've never bought one from scratch because I'm not saying that's cheap. A lot of people like to do that as well. And I think when you're first starting out, if you don't have the confidence to make your own, then go ahead and get one and get your confidence going out in public, as it were, to costume, because it's very different. People treat you different, and it takes a lot of think for some people. So yeah, I've always made my own because I enjoy it, but not everybody enjoys it, I don't think. They just want to already have it and just go out already in it. So
I mean, speaking of enjoying wearing costumes and cosplay and doing what you want and wearing a mask. In one of your videos, you dress as a male pirate, complete with beard, I noticed. But if you look around, I did my research, as I always do, and I found that lots of images of men dressing as women in cosplay. But why do you think so few women cosplay as men?
I really don't know. I mean, I had to really think about this question, to be honest, and I don't know whether it's about, like, I guess being a woman, it's easier to dress as anything anyway, and it's more dramatic when men dress as women, I guess. And I don't know. I mean, it's up to a personal preference, really, I suppose. But I mean, doing drag kings, as you actually saw, because I wasn't a pirate, it looked very piratey, I guess. But we all have our drag king persona, like I have drag queens, and I have wanted to actually just go to a gay club dressed as a drag king, and it will happen one day. But it's a matter of like getting everybody in the same place.
Yeah.
But my friend Cara and obviously my sister Shiverz, we all invented our own drag king personas that we have deep within us, just like how a drag queen has their own drag queen persona. So I guess it's just a matter of believability, I suppose. Like I was discussing with you earlier about having like a convincing beard and things like that. You know, it's hard to be like, well, I'll just stick on my hair.
So I mean, to cosplay as a man.
Yeah.
You know, it's no good being clean shaven anymore.
I mean, again, it's all about, I guess, your body type, how well you can put makeup on and things like that. But it's just what makes you comfortable as well, because it's the same with people that are drag queens, that it makes them more comfortable to be female than male. So yeah, it's really... I mean, someone just said that is a loaded question. I thought that, yes.
when you've been to conventions, I mean, do you notice a sort of other drag kings or more, or is it more drag queen that you see?
I think whenever guys dress as a female character, they just kind of put their spin on it, like you do the gender bend version, is what we call it in cosplay. Like if there's a male character, you'll be like, well, how can I turn that into a female version of it? But I've had quite a lot of princess, but they'll just put Disney princess dress on and just have their beard on and everything. It doesn't matter. They'll just wear it as it is. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, so there you are, audience. So you have no fear. Sort of Radri, Nosh, Daniel, and Frederick. You just need a dress. You'll be okay.
Get a ball gown. Go all the way. Go all out. Go big. Go home.
Right, I mean, I flip back to my living room. I'll flip back to the church for a second, and we'll keep it fresh. We'll jump to do churches have websites where you can check?
Well,
because I mean, if anybody watches Ham's videos, they will notice that, apart from seeing the gravestones and stuff, she does try to go into the church to show us inside the church, but quite often to get to the door and it's shut.
Yeah.
So yes, they do have websites.
The times I choose, they're always during the week, and church is always known for being open on Sundays, obviously. And whenever I travel, which is by bus or train, the travel doesn't exist a lot of the time on a Sunday, so I have to do it. It's like reverse, you know. But there is websites that keep up with things, but they're not very up to date because they're run by volunteers. So yes, a lot of the time I'll check before I go. I always do my research.
Yes,
but you'll be looking at something from the 90s.
Yeah, so they'd be typing it out, and then they take it and then they scan it.
Yeah, exactly. But I have been very lucky, though, when I do show up at a church and it's closed, and they usually have in the doorway, they'll have just contact numbers for the people that are the key holders for the church, because a lot of the time the vicar or whatever, they don't own anything to the church. They just go to different churches around the area and wherever they, live near to. But a lot of the time, the house that's nearest to the church, if you're just really polite, knock on the door, do you know anybody that could get me into the church? I realize it might not work for everybody because somebody might think you're casing the joint, but it does work a lot of the time for me. So just phoning up the numbers that they have, somebody a lot of the time does come over and unlock with a giant old industrial set of iron keys, and I'm like, wow, you're so keys. You practically own the church.
They're probably quite pleased that actually somebody wants to go in. You know? Like,
exactly. Yeah, it's win-win.
Now, Christian churches, they're often built on sort of pre-Christian sites, and pagan sites. But when you go in, we will get onto this shortly after this question. But you are a pagan, and so when you do your going into the churchyards, do you sometimes feel that you're an undercover pagan?
Yes, hunting out the long lost history of my pagan brethren. Yes. I think, just from a historical standpoint, a lot of towns are based around the church. Like the church is the first thing that is actually built. So when you come to a church, if you see like a small hill, buildings will be built around that and further out. So you can find a lot of history based from that. I think there is a church in Leicester actually that has a plaque on the wall saying on this, I can't remember the name of the church now. It's on the end of where the dual carriageway goes out, but it has an actual plaque saying on this site there was a pagan church in this year. And I was like, well, maybe they should always acknowledge that, because they don't just get built from nothing. A lot of the time they start somewhere. So just
site to begin with, and the Christians moved in and said, handy. So we don't have to pay any.
Oh, you've already done it. Thanks.
Daniel says, do you burst into flames when you cross onto holy ground?
I do get a bit hot sometimes, yes. Oh, that stigmata does happen sometimes. No, I'm fine.
Now we've established that you're a pagan. And so when I mean, along with comics and along with special effects, did this also occur in your teenage years, or is this something that's developed more recently? But your devotion to paganism?
I would say I remember probably when I was about 15, I had a best friend at the time that gave me my first tarot reading deck. And because I was into art and illustration, the cards were so pretty. And I was like, wow, this is great. What is it? And she told me how to use them. And I kind of went from there onwards. And it was from the age 15 to now. So we're talking 15 plus years that I've been a pagan and met many wonderful people through being a pagan. So I don't have any reason to be all.
Yeah. So I mean,
yes.
You're familiar with pagan practices, which I and probably my audience is not. But my question is, how much of paganism is devoted to ritual practice, and is it analogous to the level of ritualism in Christianity, for example?
Well, I mean, they do say, like, if you ask 10 different pagans, you'll get 10 different answers. Like, it's a very personal religion. And I do like the singer Bjork. She gave an answer once because she's a pagan, and she said, I find my religion as personal as a fingerprint. Like, it's just something that you feel more than you're told to do. And I think that's something that I identified more in paganism, that it was very much like you already feel it. You're not, like, following guidelines and things like that. So there is rituals that you can do.
Pagans get together, is there a consensus that we're going to do the XYZ sort of, ceremony?
I think
or it's like, no, I'm going to do this.
I guess,
They all go into a different corner.
There are guidelines, but I think...
Then come back in 5 minutes.
There are starting points, for sure.
We'll have coffee.
But what's the point in even joining up then if you're all going to do it separate? I think that's why people are solitary pagans as well, because people want to do their own thing. So it's entirely up to the person themselves, I suppose. But rituals, yes, there are. They're not as gory and horrible as history has made out either. I think it's up to as much as you want to do. So yeah.
Speaking of flames, says Radri, did you see Hereditary? I'm not quite sure.
I did, and it was incredible. I really love that film. I would say it was made me so tense all the way through the film. Just watching the whole film, you just because it's a family built-up film as well, where I think everybody could relate to that, even if you had no kind of spooky background or if nothing had happened to you. But there's a lot of visual imagery in that film that sticks with you once you've left. So yeah.
all those people with spooky backgrounds.
No spoilers for anybody. Just go see it.
Semi spoilers. Well, it's Hereditary. It's not really a spoiler. In the Family, Hereditary. You know, I mean, it's boring. In the middle
it's actually the title.
But the payoff is good. I mean, that's life, isn't it? It's boring in the middle.
Yeah, it's very well put, and that's entirely up to the person themselves. You know, you the film you like, but I think a grunt of kind of the pagan craft and things like that is the movie The Witch that came out. I think that's again another film that's very dear to me. I just felt a lot when I watched that film, and a lot of people told me they thought it was boring, but it was an incredibly directed cinematographic, just wonderful to watch, very tense again. But if you like explosions and things like that, then you are going to be bored. So, you know, it depends on the person.
No. So I'm going to jump to this now. This is jolly old England.
We're in jolly old England, Britain now.
I should start with a culinary question. Jumping from paganism and exploding witches, we shall go to roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, or a balti and a naan, or whatever food of your choice. I mean, what do you say? What balti or naan or roast beef or Yorkshire pudding?
Well, I have become actually, yeah, they are both very British, I think, now. I do love a good roast, but I am a vegetarian, so to me... No, it's fine. You can translate those meals into a vegetarian version, so, you know, it's very easy these days. Everywhere it's becoming very popular to be vegan and vegetarian, so it's a lot easier to dine out, as it were. But, yes, I do love a good roast, so with all the trimmings and the gravy and all that kind of stuff. It's just comfort food, you know? Yes. Good. For sure.
Right answer. Right.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't have a curry every day, could you? But you could have a roast every day.
Not if you wanted a stable relationship, you know.
Not if you want a free bathroom, maybe.
Yes. Sorry, but that leads me. We established your favourite British food. What is your favourite part of England? You pick one of these.
Yes, we have minis. We have. Well, the town of York, I think, is a wonderful place. So much history there. Vikings are very rife in its history. So I would choose that, or I love good old Whitby as well.
Is that not Bram Stoker? Whitby? Is that Whitby, or is that
Yes, that is the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Nothing to do with Bram Stoker that you like Whitby. You just like Whitby.
I believe he was inspired to write it. So yeah.
The dead bits. What
the ruin?
The dead bits of what?
just of England.
The dead bits of England. It's a new series on Simon no茶の間, The Dead Bits of England.
Sounds really appealing.
So yes, I mean York. I mean York as well. I mean there we are. I mean that's a debatable. I quite like York and the Roman thing, but problem with York is that's where they elected what's his face, the emperor who brought in Christianity as the main Roman.
Oh,
yeah,
I can see what you mean.
Constantine was made emperor in York, and if somebody had given him the chop, then the whole world would have been a bit different.
Parallel universe somewhere.
Where were we? Yes, we're in the dead bits of England. No. You
yes,
mentioned the word you mentioned earlier. It did cross your lips. You used the word. I'll go back to this because it's more appropriate. Nerd.
Okay. Yes.
Nerd. And I believe your partner Matt is also a nerd. And
Yes.
how important
Nerdy
is mutual nerdiness in a relationship?
I think just the support of the interest is important. But I mean, nerds covers so much different things. I think nerdism just means having a passion for something that, whatever it might be, like a hobby of some kind, you know, like be collecting of things. Because I think nerdism tends to go hand in hand with collecting things, doesn't it? So,
yes. I used to collect fossils, but I mean, I didn't find many girls who were interested.
See, I think that's awesome, but you know, I think a lot of people maybe would be on the route of it's boring stones, but it's not, it's history. So yeah, I think it is important for somebody to have an interest in what you want to do and support that thing. So it is important, I think. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's nice to be able to go to these comic conventions together, and not just leave the other partner at home while you go off and do your thing, dear. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I'll wait for you later.
So there you are, audience. Find a partner who has your interests. Not necessarily sort of as devoted as you are.
And I met at a convention, so I guess that answers the question, really, doesn't it? So.
So yes, so we've all got to go to conventions and look for our partners.
Yes, find your other half at a convention of your choice. They are out there waiting for you. There are so many different conventions, niche conventions around the world.
And looking at our audience, I mean, Daniel already has a partner. I'm just curious whether he found his partner at a car meet. And I'm curious where Radri found his partner, where Light found his partner. Not Nosh. I'm quite certain that Nosh abroad found his partner somewhere in a restaurant or something, because Mrs. Nosh is a wonderful cook. So and Nosh.
There's definitely a connection there then.
So now you've been on YouTube for about an hour. No, you've been on YouTube for about more than
just
10
this
years.
time, and that's it.
Yeah. What surprised me actually was that you've never done a live show before in all your 10 years. This is your first live show. Yes.
Yes, it is indeed. It is my debut.
And on the basis of this, would you consider doing future live shows? I don't know.
I probably would, actually. It's a good way to connect with people, because I mean, I spend a lot of time trying to catch up with comments and messages from people that comment that have become fans of my work, and there was like, oh, because I always ask people, is there anywhere that you know in the area that I could visit, such as like that? And I miss comments so many times because I don't get the notification, or life happens and you become too busy. So I think having this kind of way of doing it, it's a really good way of doing it. So thank you for opening my eyes.
Because I mean, like going use that for your personal as a resource, if you like, to connect with your fans, and
yeah.
But I mean, you've been doing YouTube now for actually 10 years or more, and your channel is still quite small. But it doesn't bother you in the slightest. And my question was, do you really give a monkeys about YouTube fame and subscription numbers?
Definitely not. Just because, to me, you know, like I think I've got coming up to 800 followers. I mean, that's, if you think 800 people in a room is a lot of people, that's what I think. And I get people come, yeah, just cramming in. I get people coming up to me on the street a lot saying to me, I watch your channel, it's great. Thank you for doing what you do. So what more do I need than that, really? I don't need any more fame, because fame is an illusion, everybody. Don't believe it. I don't think you need that in your life. I feel content and satisfied with what I do and the amount that I do at the moment. I don't want to make it my life's work.
I mean, how
I don't know.
How often do you make videos then? Sort of going out doing. Do you think I'm going to go out and make a video, or do you think I'm going to go out to this church because I want to look at this and I might as well video it while I'm there, or do you think I need to make a video? I better go look for some churches, or does it work the other way around?
I just plan like what my interest is, really, because it's just if I see something, like I've got a list of different churches, and when I have a day off, I'm like, well with going to this place, but I research it and film it when I get there.
Mm.
That's the reason why I do it. But it's also because I enjoy it. I don't, I gotta, that kind of thing. It's just a matter of like the enjoyment of going there and keeping a record of it as well. The great thing of filming and taking photos, like I forget a lot of places I've been to. The amount of times I'm like, gonna do this cemetery seek. Oh, I already went there already. I could just check through all of my videos and find that I already did it already. So yeah.
Videos there, right? Yeah, or I've been there.
Let me just check my own channel. Yeah, I'm that great at remembering.
Radri's asking, why is fame an illusion? It's getting very philosophical here. Yes, discuss.
Well, I think it just doesn't amount to anything really, because fame these days, they have the 5 minutes of fame, and people don't stay famous either until after you're dead, or at the time. I don't know. It just it doesn't bring you anything, does it? I mean, if you're after money never makes anyone happy. I think everybody that's a millionaire, so many people that have taken their lives, let's get philosophical here, the people that take their lives that are famous, they have loads of money. They're not, they never can get happy. They never get content with it. So I just think fame is on that list for me.
So more a rich life than...
I don't think anybody lies on their deathbed going, if only I was more famous.
Yeah. So there you are, Radri. That's your answer. Don't have to pursue it. There's no pursuit necessary.
And I am a Sagittarius, so I can philosophize for hours. So that's fine by me.
Now, we've got... Your sister is in Japan, and
yes,
she's been in Japan quite a while. So, how often do you manage to get to go and see her?
Well, I've only been once, and that was for Christmas for 2 weeks into the new year. And I really want to go again, but it's just a matter of the monetary side of things, really. Matt and I are planning on going at the end of next year, for the new year. So, I would love to get back and actually share things with him. And I mean, going to Tokyo, I found it very overwhelming. I would prefer to go further out to more quieter areas, because I do enjoy the greenery and forests and things like that. But yeah, I think I just want to see more, like not the same thing. I want to venture out. So
yes, I mean, it's I should be doing that. I mean, I'm going west, obviously, in the first week that I'm there. I'm going to my girlfriend's, and that's fairly rural, relatively speaking. Hey, it's Kaz.
Hello,
Kaz.
I don't think I do. Do I know you, Kaz?
Yeah. She's like, I can recognize who she is in a second. Voice and face.
Oh my goodness. do I, are you here now? Hello, Kaz? Hello?
Yes, it's. I mean, I'm going to try and see the rural bits, not the dead bits, but the rural bits of Japan. There
might be dead in there as well, but you have to tell me, where are you heading to go to? What bits that interest you?
First week, Yamaguchi, and then the second week, heading back from Yamaguchi, may try and pop into Shikoku, because that's one of the main islands, and there's a YouTuber there that I might go and visit. But definitely.
Bye, Radley.
Are you gonna go?
Sorry.
See you, Radley. Bye. Hey, May the mediator from Finland. Hey.
Oh, I love Finland. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, Kyoto.
Carry on.
And then I'm going to go into Nagoya and meet up with hopefully Victor and Tomoko Des again. And then, well, before I go down to Kyoto and Nagoya, I'm going to go up to maybe Fukui, Fukuoka, and no, Fukui, and then across to Ishikawa, because my singer friend from Hong Kong, she said that there's some good place. Kanazawa there is good to go and have a look at, and then gradually sort of see those things and head back towards Tokyo for the last week. and then meet up with a bunch of these
excellent.
bunch of these people here.
Yes.
In the audience.
These guys.
So that's my plan, and there will be some rural scenery in amongst there. I mean, Kyoto is really nice. Last time I was in Kyoto, I was like stuck for a day because a guy I was going to see, a YouTuber in Fukui, he was going to come and meet up and we were going to hang around, but he couldn't get away from his work, so I was like stuck. For a day. Then my singer friend in Hong Kong, she's from Japan but she lives in Hong Kong. She said, "Oh, go to Mount Kurama." Okay, that's near Kyoto, so I went there. So that was very nice. It was like temples up in the forest, going up to a mountain.
Oh, cool!
Yes, it's been a while since you've caught me.
Sounds amazing.
Yes. Have you been watching the recordings, May?
Whereabouts in Finland are you from, May?
Yes, we're now there. They have a 15-second
funny
delay.
fact: the first time I ever vlogged was when I went to Finland. I bought my camera to vlog for going to Finland.
And did you do it like a standard Corvid Chaser vlog, or what was your first vlog like? Helsinki.
Yay! I love Helsinki. That's where I went.
Kaz is asking,
I don't have a tail.
Where do you have a tail? No tail. It's tail is exclusive to the
I don't have one on me. Unfortunately, my sister Shiverz is all about the tails, but I don't have a tail. No, she's the furry of the family.
Yes, she's also an illustrator. I mean, you do illustrations as well, but that's her sort of thing, isn't it? Sort of, in Japan, yeah. Helsinki. Oh no, that's me. Yeah, so yeah, you must go and see. Get out of Tokyo if you can. I mean, you just have to go a bit north from Tokyo.
That's my plan.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed.
I'm sorry. I don't have any tails. I can't even think of a substitute tail that I have. I'm sorry.
Quick, go and grab a door.
I got a collar. That's close enough, I guess.
I don't have a tail either, so it's all right. It's a tail. Did I miss a question? Do it about the special effects, CGI, graveyards, characters in hoovering whilst in costume to cosplay.
Well, that's very Freddie Mercury, is it not?
Yeah. Break free.
I do have a tail, just not here. And it was Shiverz that gave it to me. It's a blue foxtail. I just don't have it. It's at my studio.
And that was what it was. The last question that I didn't ask, she's like middle in, was to do with illustrations, because you're doing something now on Twitter, and you're doing. I saw you and your boyfriend and people were drawing stuff. Yes. And it's kind of some kind of illustration.
It's Inktober for October, so you basically do an ink drawing every day of October. So it's just kind of like I don't know how long it's been going for actually, but I think it's just a way for people to either experiment and become better artists in themselves, become more confident with ink, because it's a very unforgiving medium as well.
If you can't rub it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think it's become very open this year. Like, a lot of people are doing digital anyway, so I don't know how much it matters that it isn't ink anymore, to be honest. It's just a matter of there's prompts for every day. So, you know, day 1 was whatever, so every day of the 30 days there's a different word to inspire you for a drawing. So,
and then you take a photo of it and you upload it to Twitter, or is it?
Yeah, to Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. Yep, and just hashtag it as Inktober, so everybody can just share the art and just everybody gets inspired then. So I did mine all on one page, and I've completed mine already. Sorry to just blow that out there, but you know, I have a job and work and things that, you know, but I did it in kind of like, behind the scenes.
Done one day, October, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did it in a way of like on a really big sheet of paper, and I drew all the 30 drawings in one. so that it was kind of like an ink advent calendar. So you would color one in every day. But I got carried away and enjoyed it so much that I just completed the whole thing. So I have a giant piece of paper that I'm photographing each one individually and uploading them each day instead of I'll wait till the end.
Find chocolates behind or anything.
Unfortunately not. You just get the hard grafted ink. You just get the reward of drawing. There you go. It's healthier than chocolate.
May says she meant to take part in Inktober, but she didn't notice the month had changed. Hello, Robert.
It happens. Don't worry, May. Don't worry. I think there's November ones going on. There's one I remember being Gnomevember, which you draw a gnome for every day of November. Maybe you can do that one instead.
Okay. Right, there's you, like 30 gnomes in one day.
Trying anyway.
Oh, I've run out of questions.
Hello, believe in yourself. Late greetings to you also.
That's Robert, former old dude.
Oh right, okay. Hello.
Yes, we're just about to wrap up, Robert. You are a bit late.
Very late. You'll have to rewatch it. Rewind. Just
Rewind.
like in the VHS days.
I shall go back to old England because it's a small country. Vids of your mom. I'm late, but you made it. You're busy. You were busy watching live streams this morning. So.
Thank you.
My shirt. This actually is my school shirt from.
Oh, she could have been talking about yours. I don't know. Oh, I'm just assuming, obviously.
So, Vids of your mom. What have you missed? You'll have to go through the replay. You've missed paganism, chasing crows. What else have we missed? Doing your shopping and cosplay. Manami-san. Hey, Manami-san has just joined. She works for an anime studio in Tokyo.
Hello, I love anime and animation.
Oh, you've been asleep. Nothing like waking up at 6:30 to see the end.
Where are you from, Vids of your mum? Where do you film videos of your mother? You should be ashamed.
Busy. I told him he would regret that in later years when he tells his children his channel.
Someone's drilling outside. I apologize.
On a Sunday. That's uneasy.
Yeah, on a Sunday. Thanks for that. We're about to wrap it up, everybody. Thanks.
Okay. Well, if there's any more questions from the audience, feel free to ask now. But I should... Saskatchewan. Good name, bad idea.
Ooh, Canada. Yes, I guess. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. It's one of those that you can't even say. I would love to go to Canada. It's on my list.
Oh, it's an angle grinder, not drilling. I recognise that sound.
Yep.
Angle grinder.
That certainly is. They're grinding all the angles right now, whatever they're doing.
Bells round your way on Sunday. They get out their angle grinder. Angle grinding in Nottinghamshire. Tradition.
Matt's trying to close the window right now to try and stop it, but it's not stopping at all.
Lay down and say, "Shut up!
Well,
Shut up!
It's a bloody Sunday, you fools!"
We're on telly.
Yeah, exactly. We're live, damn it! I'm turning very cockney now.
Right, I shall let you go back to your cosplay and nerdiness and.
Thank you,
and I should thank you very much for joining me and taking
no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
And I should advise the audience to, if you go to the advert for this show, you'll immediately find a link to Corvid Chaser's channel. And if you wait a little while, After this is uploaded, I will fiddle about with it and add a link into the replay channel. And next week is a mystery. I'm waiting for a message from Corvid Chaser for a future guest for next week.
I have a few in mind. So anybody that is watching right now that is not actually signed into the chat, that is a friend, and you all know who you are, I have a few of you that may be a future guest.
Yes, I'm very gentle. Okay, thank you, folks, and hopefully see you.
Thanks, everybody. It's great to meet everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.